Walking the Syntropic Islands. I'm walking the pathways at Ediblescapes. Not in a straight line. More like moving through a living sentence. On both sides, the garden rises and falls in terraces. Syntropic islands stitched together. Dense patches of green. Open pockets of light. And soft edges where new life keeps arriving. Under my feet, the path is quiet. Mulch, leaf litter, crushed stems. The soft give of soil that has been fed for years. There's that warm compost smell. Not unpleasant, just honest. The scent of yesterday becoming tomorrow. Above it all, layers. Ground covers spreading like conversation. Low herbs and young seedlings in the bright spots. Mid-storey shrubs holding the space. Climbers threading through whatever they can find. A vine taking the hint of a branch. A tendril making its small decision. And higher, the canopy doing what canopy does. Turning sharp sun into dappled light. Turning heat into shelter. Turning wind into a softer voice. A forest garden doesn't argue. It shows. It teaches with time. As I walk, I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm just watching how cause and effect live inside landscapes. How what is done upstream eventually appears downstream. Not as a theory, but as a feeling in the body. So I carry 3 quiet reflections, like stones in my pocket. Not to throw, just to remember their weight. First reflection, 1960 to now. I imagine a world where people don't have to run, where leaving home isn't the last door left open. In that world, the global north still builds. Cities still glow at night, but fewer lives arrive carrying rupture in their shoulders. Some comforts cost what they truly cost. Some systems feel their own weight, because they can't shift it quietly onto others. And in the global south, more people remain close to their own ground, not as a romance, just as a different pressure in the system. The teacher stays near the school, the nurse stays near the clinic. The young people stay near their language, near the familiar weather of community, near the graves that hold memory. Some places still struggle. History never becomes perfectly gentle. But the constant outflow is less normalized. The drain is less expected. More hands remain to repair what breaks. As I pass a dense patch of green, I notice how the garden holds many ages at once. New growth beside old wood. Tender leaves under protective shade. And I think of the Pacific, that ocean world that has always known movement, but not always chosen it. In this reflection, islands don't lose so many voices to distance. Families don't stretch into longing as often. And the old taking, blackbirding shadow doesn't keep repeating itself. In new uniforms and low wages. Travel still happens. Canoes, planes, kinship exchange. But it feels more like circulation, and less like people being taken. Because the island has no other way to breathe. And because fewer hands are pulled away, more hands remain to deepen what already knows how to live there. Reef to garden food knowledge. Tree crops and layered home groves. Breadfruit, banana circles, taro patches, yams climbing. Coconut shade holding moisture. Compost made from husk and leaf and seaweed. Fishing seasons remembered properly. Seeds saved like story. The tradition doesn't become a museum. It becomes stronger. Because it has people to carry it forward. Australia too is different. With fewer arrivals forced by collapse elsewhere, the continent becomes quieter in its storytelling. Less translated. Less challenged. Still sunlit, still prosperous. But slower to learn. that oceans don't separate consequences. They carry them. Second reflection, since 1400. Now I imagine a world where colonization never happened. Where ships arrived, but conquest did not become a method. No empty land story. No maps drawn like wounds. Here, walking between terraces, I can't help thinking how nothing is empty. Even a bare patch is full. Seeds waiting, microbes moving, roots remembering. In that world, the Pacific remains a vast library. Stars as language. Currents as memory. Islands as centers of knowledge. And Australia, ancient, sung into being, continues under First Peoples' custodianship. Not frozen in time. Living cultures changing, debating, innovating. But not under the boot of invasion. Country remains teacher, not commodity. Belonging remains law, not decoration. I don't pretend this world would be perfect. But I let myself feel the difference. A modernity growing from relationship, instead of extraction. Like a garden designed to feed itself, not strip itself. Third reflection, a world without slavery. Then I imagine history without slavery. Without humans turned into property. Without wealth built from broken kinship. I look at the layers around me. Ground cover, understory, mid-storey, canopy. And I see how everything here depends on relationship. Shade holds moisture. Mulch holds life. Diversity holds resilience. Even competition is tempered by the whole. Slavery was a system designed to remove relationship and keep only profit. Without it, the world's wealth grows differently. Some empires rise slower. Some markets never swell the same way. But the deepest change is in the grooves societies cut into themselves. Who is valued? Who is disposable? Who belongs? If those grooves were never carved so deep, we would still have conflict. Humans remain complicated. But the architecture of dehumanization would be less normal, less inherited, like a shadow. And in the Pacific and Australia, the social landscape would feel different too. Less engineered by ladders of human worth. Less haunted by systems that needed certain people to be less than, to function. Closing, returning to the path. Now I'm simply walking again. Terraces above and below. A tangle of greens. Different heights, different densities. A whole community of plants. Sharing space, light, water, time. The garden doesn't give me slogans. It gives me a way to notice how choices travel, how harm travels, how care travels too. And I keep walking, not to finish the thought, but to stay with it. Slow, layered, alive.